The central government has notified 4 labor codes, which fundamentally alter the labor jurisprudence in the country and how it's practiced. The labor unions have been protesting, and they are saying that they will oppose the acts till they are repealed by the central government in the same manner as the farm laws were repealed, because they claim that these codes take away the hard-won rights of the workers. The central government, on the other hand, is claiming that they not only simplify the ease of doing business in the country, but they also provide universal safety to the workers. And they are, in fact, an improvement in the way labor law is practiced in this country. So we still have 4 months to go before the acts actually come into practice, because the rules governing the laws have not yet been framed either by the centre or some of the states, including Tamil Nadu, Delhi, and West Bengal. So 4 months in which this tug of wars between the unions, the opposition parties, and the government will continue.
Yeah, thanks, Purnima. So I'll begin with the employees first. There are in the codes, in the 4 codes, actually they were made with the objectives of making sure that the welfare provisions and the welfare of the workers is enhanced, and also at the same time the compliances get reduced. So when we look at the employees, starting from the first set, which is in terms of their engagement, a mandatory appointment letter, minimum wages, which were earlier applicable only to scheduled employments, which is basically 30 to 35% of the workforce was covered. Minimum wages now become universal. In terms of discrimination or in wages for equal pay for equal work, and no discrimination on grounds of men, women, or transgender. Transgender has been included for the first time. In the code, national floor wage would be set up, which would the state's minimum wages would have to be above the floor wage. There are, in terms of social security, there are enhanced provisions. Unorganized workers and organized sector, again, now for the first time gets full social security. Gig and platform workers also get social security. There is provision for an annual health checkup for the workers who are above 40. There are national safety standards which are going to be set up, which have to be followed across the country. Then coming to we talked about standards, we talked about wages, and we talked about social security. So basically, universalization of minimum wages, universalization of social security, and universalization of occupational safety and health. So these are 3 big pro-worker provisions that have been brought in the code. In terms of welfare, also, again, any organization above 10 workers, the welfare measures are mandatory. The thresholds are described in the OSH code as to the number of restrooms, number of toilets, creches, canteens, and other facilities, medical rooms that are required. From the employer's perspective, the benefits are largely, I would classify them in the domain of compliance reduction. The registrations reduced from 8 to 1, licenses reduced from 4 to 1, the returns reduced from 31 to 1, number of sections and number of rules reduced to 1/3 from before, provisions of decriminalization, so operational and technical aspects decriminalized, but where it comes to the safety of workers, not decriminalized. Safety provisions still attract criminal liability. Similarly, the provisions for non-remittance of social security contributions, especially if they have been deducted from the employer, they still attract criminal provisions. So from the employer perspective, largely it reduces the
compliance burden.
From the employer's perspective, there are other measures which will also increase formalization of the workforce. The fixed term employment also is actually brought in to ensure that workers who are through third parties can now be directly employed with the companies through fixed term employment and through fixed term contracts. This will especially be useful for project-based work and for seasonal work. It also meets the aspiration of the people for having direct employment with the company instead of through a third party or contractor, which will also lead to better employability. So in that sense, I would say that taking both the balance of both these, it is expected that on the one hand, it would increase the worker welfare and productivity, as well as from the businesses end, it will lead to more employment, more formalized employment, and therefore more economic growth and investment and more economic growth. Similarly, if I was to speak about exports, since our welfare measures are now in sync with the welfare measures in the developed countries, this should also enable more exports from the country, because the labor-related compliances, the welfare and the wages would be in sync with what is in the developed countries. So, in terms of the compliance mechanisms, I think that's the point you are alluding to. Appointment letter is certainly mandatory. There are two parts to it. There is going to be grievance redressal committees in every workplace, which will have equal representation of the workers. So that is one forum for workers to get their justice. Apart from that, there are tribunals which would be there to ensure that if, as a legal appellate mechanism, the tribunals will be there. The tribunals will have two members instead of one. They will have one administrative member along with the judicial member, with the expectation that with two members, there would be faster decisions and faster cases would be disposed. The labor machinery is oriented towards the new rules that they have to play. Further capacity building of the labor machinery, both at the center and state, would be taken up. There are training programs available on iGOT. The central labor machinery has already undergone that training program. We have also suggested to the state labor machinery to undergo this program. Through a web-based inspection system and use of AI and big data, it is expected that the violations would be easily picked up, and therefore the focus of the labor machinery would be on the entities or establishments which are non-compliant. And whenever there is a complaint, the labor machinery is supposed to step in and supposed to inquire and take the necessary action as per the legal provisions in the code. The reason I'm mentioning this is because there is one impression that because of randomized web-based inspection, many of the complaints will go unheard. There is a specific mandate that when complaints come, they don't have to go through the randomized inspection system. They have to be taken up as it is whenever they are received by the labor machinery. So there are these kind of mechanisms to strengthen the compliance framework and to ensure that these new mandates get implemented. And obviously, since we are talking, there is also a need for the businesses and establishments to be responsible and to make sure that, along with the benefits of compliance reductions that they are getting, they should make sure that the new mandates in terms of appointment letter, minimum wages, etc., are also followed, so that there is more and more voluntary compliance from their end. So it has to be both a voluntary compliance from the employers plus the employment machinery, both at the state and center, will need to gear up to do this. So, since you've read the code, you will also know that there are certain governance mechanisms which have been proposed in the code to ensure that these schemes get formulated. The first and the foremost governance mechanism is that a social security board would be set up, and a social security fund would be set up where this money has to come. The social security board will have members from both the gig and platform workers themselves and from the aggregators and the government. So like everything else in the sector and in this ministry, this will also be a tripartite mechanism where there would be a formulation of scheme by this very board, comprising of the platform workers themselves, the aggregators and the government. The amount of reduction that has been proposed in the code is 1 to 2% of the turnover, subject to a maximum of 5% of the payout to the workers. And with this fund coming in, schemes have to be formulated for accident insurance, for I would say long-term old age protection, for health. In fact, for health, if you remember, for this budget announcement, we already have a budget announcement where government will be funding directly the coverage of the platform workers under the Ayushman Bharat Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana. So we have provided a budget for it in this year budget itself. So that is one scheme which will take off because that is already budgetarily, there's a provisioning for that. Other schemes also, over the last few months, we have been working on the contours of the schemes for the gig and platform workers. We've also been engaging with the aggregators and the platform workers. We have a committee which has been discussing this. Now these will be kind of finalized and placed before the board once the board is set up, so that these can go through the board and then the fund and the contributions can start. So from the ministry, it is our utmost intention and priority to start these processes quickly, to set up the board, to set up the fund, and to formulate these schemes and to go ahead with these schemes. And unorganized workers, if you read the provisions, the fund, apart from the employers, will also have contributions. Employees, if they want, can contribute. CSR can contribute. There would be fines and penalties which would be collected because whenever there are violation of the provision, there are heavy penalties and fines. So if there has been decriminalization, there will also be the fines and penalties have been increased substantially. So they would be part of this fund. Central and state governments can contribute to this fund. So there are these various sources of funding such schemes and initiatives. And we will try to implement them and take them on board as soon as possible.
Yeah, because my concern stems from the fact that as one has watched over a period of time, like the construction workers cess, for instance, it's been around for 22 years now, and people find it difficult to access it because registration is an issue of workers. For instance, it would be helpful if you could give us an idea of how many of these gig and platform workers have actually registered on the e-shram portal.
Yes. So registration, as you said, is an important point. Registration will be through e-shram. Registration will be using Aadhaar because these benefits are going to flow. What we have done for the gig and platform workers is that currently we have got this data from the aggregators, because there is also a requirement of sustained engagement for a certain number of days for a worker to be eligible for the social security schemes. So we've got that data, but in the absence of the mandate, which is the Code on Social Security brings in, we had not got the entire data. So we had got data for, I think, about 25 to 30 lakh gig and platform workers from the aggregators. But mandate is going to strengthen that now completely, because now it is legally mandated for the aggregators to provide this data and to make sure that the gig and platform workers get registered on e-shram. The second step that is planned is an IT step, which is that through an API, we should be able to get the data from the aggregators. because as you would know, the platform workers work across platforms. They don't work in one platform. They may be working for 2-3 different platforms. Which is why we would need data from those 2-3 different aggregators, and then that flows into eShram. The deduplication happens, and then the scheme benefits can go to them. So I would like to say that the Code on Social Security and the mandate it provides to the government to get this data from the aggregators and to get the 1 to 2% of the turnover, that is actually going to strengthen the implementation of the social security schemes for the platform. Right. As far as the workers are concerned, they have to give the Aadhaar linked bank account and the benefits that are there to them. If it's for example, if it's a pension, the benefits will go into the Aadhaar linked bank account. See, these floor wages will all be set up and fixed through a committee mechanism, and there would again be a tripartite consultation in these. So experts would be involved in that. So whatever goes into a minimum living standard will be taken into consideration while fixing this. But I think one part of your question was also about enforcement, and therefore I feel that moving to digital systems will also free up the time of the state and the central labor machinery to be able to spend time on really focused enforcement on organizations and places where there is non-compliance, because currently a lot of their time goes in manual processes, in the manual documents that come, in seeing those documents, in providing approvals. So digitization, automatic approvals and deemed approvals, these are going to, and as you would have seen in government, whenever digital reforms have taken place, the machinery is then able to focus on other things which are important. And important would be here, as you mentioned, the compliance to various new welfare measures, whether it is the minimum wages or the other welfare measures. And the digitization would enable that focus of the machinery on these kind of real issues and the new provisions that have come in the codes.